Hi, I'm Kevin Spunde at Sweetwater. I'm here because I just love bass guitar, and I'm betting you're here because you're looking to get into bass or you're planning on buying somebody their first bass. You may have a lot of questions and stuff you don't know, and there may be a bunch of more questions you don't even know to ask. So I'm going to provide you with some insight and some of my own opinions on the bass buying process for a beginner. So what's a bass made out of? Well, you have the body, the neck, strings, pickup, tone and volume knobs, output jack. This is a pick guard on here to keep the body from getting scratched. Then you have frets and a nut on this end and a bridge on this end, the 2 points where the strings touch the bass. And of course, your tuning pegs, string tree, strap button. That's it. The most common types of basses that you'll see, let's start with P bass, for instance, like this. It's a P style bass. The P stands for precision, and where they came around was in the early 50s, Leo Fender invented that, and before that, it was all upright, so they didn't have frets. So the frets get added on, it's turned into electric bass, precision. But if you see a P bass pickup, that's a good way of thinking like, oh, that's a P bass, style bass. It's gonna sound like a P bass. All P basses kind of sound alike. Another really common bass that you'll see a lot is a jazz bass. Jazz bass came around, it's actually a marketing thing that they named it the jazz bass, but it's a slightly more offset body than the P bass. Kind of looks like a jazz master. Idea is they want to sell more bass guitars to all the jazz musicians. So you might think that maybe its neck profile is a little bit more like an upright bass, but it's actually got a smaller neck typically than P basses do. Another big difference as well is the pickups. With the jazz bass, you have two J pickups. So if you hear J pickups or jazz pickups, jazz bass pickups, that's a really common thing. As well, you'll see the best of kind of both worlds. You'll see a PJ setup like this one. It's a PJ pickup configuration. So best of both worlds, you get a P pickup, a J pickup, really versatile. So with a P bass, I'm thinking it's kind of sounding warm, woody, thumpy, can get aggressive and barky, but P basses are everything ranging from, James Jamerson Motown to punk music to rock and roll. Jazz basses came out later, and it's two pickups, so you have a more kind of variety of sound that you get from different lengths of the string. So jazz basses came out, and you have slap bass invented on jazz bass, Larry Graham to Marcus Miller, and even rock and roll, metal, everything. I think Tim Comerford, early Rage Against the Machines on a jazz bass too. But then you have like jazz on a jazz bass, so Jaco Pastorius, big jazz bass player as well. And another type of pickup to be aware of is a humbucker. So you'll see humbuckers like this, either like a soap bar is what this size would be called, or like big Music Man style humbuckers is another one to be aware of. Humbuckers a lot of times will sound lower, warmer, thumpier. A lot of times they're paired with active electronics, so you're not going to lose like high-end information with them either at the same time. So really versatile pickups that you see in a wide range of basses. So what's the bass's role in music? How does it differ from all the other instruments like guitar and vocals and all that, right? I like to think of it like four-part choral harmony. You have the soprano, which is the melody, the floaty bit up top that's kind of catchy. Alto tenor, next to below that's kind of doing all the filler. And then bass is the lowest part that's driving the song forward. Bass is what's setting the foundation for all the harmonic development above it. You're usually landing on the root of the chord on beat 1 of every measure, and you're driving the song into the next part. Bass is what's going to make people move as well when they're dancing on the dance floor, or wherever else you want to dance, I guess. What is a bass for a beginner? What constitutes a beginner bass? Let's talk price. Is there some sort of opportunity cost to consider with this? Kind of in a way. You don't want to buy something that's so cheap that it never holds up, you don't enjoy playing it, doesn't stay in tune, and you don't get any kind of return on your investment personally, and you end up missing out on the possibility of getting a bass that would have provided a lifelong feeling of musical fulfillment. But you also probably don't want to spend, $5,000 on your kid's first bass if this time next year they're going to be into soccer instead. I mean, for instance, my first bass was a $100 P-bass ripoff that I got in like 7th or 8th grade. There's really a decent assortment of basses at different price points, but for a true beginner, you're gonna look kind of somewhere around the $180 to $300 range. And what are you getting for your money there? Well, you're not buying a family heirloom, but you are getting something that's good enough quality that's gonna hold up and last you long enough to see your second bass. And if you're an adult, spend adult money on it. If it's a serious hobby, it's something you really want to get into, or if you're moving from guitar to bass, get something great. And why would you want to spend more money? Well, for starters, at Sweetwater, when you're spending over $299, it's going to go through our 55-point evaluation. So we have a real human being with 2 thumbs actually look the instrument over, and then we even photograph them and weigh them. Then we pair those photographs with the serial numbers and the weight on the website so you can pick out your instrument. And just to be doubly sure, we even check them again afterwards. Then it goes back to the box and onto the shelf. So what's another advantage of shopping at Sweetwater? Well, if you are maybe a guitar player moving to bass, or you're a parent or somebody who already plays and you're buying for somebody else and you kind of know what you're going to want or know what's going to be needed, we have a full dedicated shop of techs and luthiers. We can do a full setup on an instrument. We even have a plec machine if you want to have the fretboard made perfect. Anything you can pretty much imagine, we can take care of in-house and handle for you, and do it before it gets out the door so the bass is in perfect playing condition when it arrives. When you picture yourself playing a bass, what do you see? How do you imagine yourself playing? Get something like that. Get something you think looks cool. That's really important for your first bass. You're going to have something, you're wearing it, so you want to have something that looks cool when you're playing it, when you're wearing it, when you're going and playing live, when you show it to friends. So shop with your eyes. Find your price point that works for you. Call us if you have any questions, and pick something that really looks cool. It's the right price for you. And also, shop with your ears. If you're not really quite sure what you want, look at the bands that you're into and see what the bass player is playing there. If you don't know, Google or Bing or Yahoo or Ask Jeeves. If you're into a bunch of punk bands, probably buy a white P bass. Another thing to consider too is, should you go with a short scale bass? Most basses are 34-inch scale length from the bridge down here to the nut. And then short scale basses are going to be, less than 34 inches typically. This is really good for if you're buying this for a small child, if you have a smaller frame and smaller hands, or if you're moving from guitar to bass and you just don't want to have to worry about stretching your fingers and stuff. So when you're looking to get your first bass, call us. Make sure you're getting everything you're gonna need. Don't just have a bass by itself and nothing else. Complete your experience. Call Sales Engineer, talk to us, we'll make sure you're getting set up right. And you wanna make sure you get stuff, all the accessories to go with the bass. So maybe a gig bag, as well as, extra strings, cable, stand, a care kit, do setups and stuff on the instrument, and a tuner, as well as guitar strap, all the goodies. I'm sure there's about 1,000 other things I forgot to mention, but if you're a seasoned player yourself, feel free to leave a comment below with some of your input, your tips, pointers, thoughts, feedback. We'll try to respond to any questions in the comments, but really, if there's anything else you'd like to know, if you have any questions about getting started on bass, if you want to get anything on order, just call one of our sales engineers. Thanks for checking this out, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click here for more videos like these, or visit Sweetwater for all of your music and pro audio needs.